Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're giving everyone a few moments to join from the waiting room. If we have not signed up for the ALS link yet, the QR code and the link there on the slide will bring you there. That's how we share information about platform trial, regimens, and other milestones. So feel free to sign up if you are interested in receiving them directly. And we can go to the next slide. This is Sabrina Paganoni, and I'm here from the Healy Center for ALS at Mass General Hospital in Boston. I'm here with our patient navigator, Catherine Small, and our assistant. Thank you, Mimi, for being here and organizing this webinar. And today, this is the last webinar of 2025 in this series. So big thanks to all the supporters of the platform trial. We've been on this webinar series for 5 years. And so thank you to all of you who are listening. We've been trying to bring you information essentially in as real time as possible as things happen in the platform trial. And tonight we're going to share a few additional details about the trial design and structure and how it operates. And we always try to plan the topics based on the questions that we receive from the community. Thank you so much, Catherine, for receiving questions and helping us to shape the content of these webinars, again, based on the questions that we get from the audience. Next slide. So tonight we wanted to talk about where the platform trial fits within the ALS research ecosystem. For those of you who have been following for a while, you know that there's always news about developments and breakthroughs at different stages of the drug development pipeline. And so we wanted to kind of share where we fit. And so I think if you can click one more time, Mimi, the platform trial sits kind of in the middle of the drug development pipeline. Obviously, before we get here, we need to have a lot of work happen in the preclinical space. So what that means is that our colleagues, scientists, researchers in the lab are doing important work to discover new genetic mechanisms that cause ALS, or different work on proteins or different pathways. Some of you may have heard about TDP-43, which is a key protein that is part of the disease process. So major advances in our understanding of disease causes really has occurred over the last few years. So risk factors, causes of ALS, and biomarkers, which help us track the disease and hopefully will allow us to continue to track response to treatments. And so all of this work is like a funnel, happens kind of to the left of the slide. And it's only when these different discoveries align that companies or investigators can develop new drugs. Drugs are then new medicines or experimental products. And these investigational products are tested as many different names for that. Again, experimental drugs or investigational products. Obviously, they're not proven to work until they get to the very final stage of drug approval. And so normally we all the studies proceed from the phase 1 to phase 2 or 3, and it's important that the phase 1 studies really identify the right drugs to move forward to the phase 2 and phase 3. But then really there is a funnel where many drugs cannot make it until the last steps, and the platform trial sits right there in the phase 2 to 3 space, where we're trying to prioritize drugs to get to essentially the finish line to drug approval. And even after that, actually, the research doesn't stop. Even after a drug is approved, then we need to work on other things that are also very important. For example, monitoring the drug in the context of the real world when many people access it, and also continuing to work on other tools like assistive technology or other things to help in the clinic. So just wanted to kind of have this visual representation of where the platform trial sits. And again, it's sort of like towards the end of the drug development process, but it's kind of, part of it. And all of this requires infrastructure, biosamples, data tools, training. So what we're really proud of is that over the last 5 years, we have built a robust infrastructure like the platform trial that can accommodate many drugs. And again, with the idea of selecting or screening drugs that are, most promising and hoping to move them either towards a second, another trial, another large trial like a phase 3 trial, or maybe even moving them to drug approval. Next slide. So far, one question that we have, many people asked us is, when is the right time for a drug to enter the platform trial? And this slide shows a little bit about the methodology that we use to decide which drugs will enter the platform trial. And there's many factors that go into this. Again, all of, the entry into the platform trial assumes that there's been all the previous work that I described on the previous slide that was also illustrated on the slide, which is all the work in the lab. So work with stem cell models or animal models or other ways to test things in the lab, and also previous experience, which can happen in volunteers, healthy volunteers, or other people living with ALS, or people that have other neurological diseases. And this previous human experience, more in the phase 1/2 space, is important to support the dose, the safety, to know that we're engaging the target, to identify relevant biomarkers. All of this determines the clinical trial readiness and the decision to enter the trial. We also need, obviously, to have companies that have investigational product and placebo available for the trial itself, and the funding to be able to bring all of this forward. So far, essentially, in summary, we have our therapy evaluation committee, which includes top scientists, experts from all over the world that review these applications, and they help us assess, in collaboration with different pharmaceutical companies, whether a particular product is ready, has enough data to go into the platform trial. And so far, they have reviewed over 50 applications, and sometimes it's a collaboration with companies or investigators. Sometimes a drug may be a great fit for ALS, but may not be ready to enter the platform trial at that specific time for a variety of reasons. And so sometimes it's necessary to do another study before, for example, a phase 1 study, or other studies to clarify things like dosage or biomarkers and other things. So after, this initial process of evaluating the drugs and selecting the drug, then we begin what we call the design process to make sure that we adapt, the specific protocol to the needs of that specific drug. That's why this process takes a few months, again, to make sure that we the drug is a good fit for the trial. Next slide. And so here, if you can keep clicking, we just wanted to share that the first 7 drugs that were developed, they were tested in the platform trial, they were all a little bit different. They were all targeting different mechanisms. Again, we're learning more about ALS genetics, about ALS pathways, about mechanisms, different proteins or different elements, aspects of cell functioning that can go wrong in ALS. And so each of them try to test different processes, which also helps us prioritize mechanisms. It's important to know if a particular mechanism that maybe is thought to be involved in ALS as a driver of disease in the lab, it's important to test it in people and see if truly that is an important aspect of the disease in people living with ALS. And again, that's also a way to prioritize mechanisms and then try to continue the drug development process. Next slide. And so far, we tested 7 drugs, and 2 are moving forward to phase 3. Those were the ones that were tested in regimens C and D. And if you can, and everything is published open access, so you can actually see all the results if you want online in the journals that published the results. So if you can keep clicking, essentially, we look at this as a puzzle, trying to learn more about the specific drugs, but also learn more about ALS, learn about the mechanisms that underlie ALS, try to understand which pathways are most relevant, and also trying to help the field itself. So if you can click one more time, we can see that as part of our commitment to promoting ALS science and progress in ALS, we have now, essentially set aside, or we say retired, meaning, we basically are no longer using the data from the first 5 regimens, from the placebo participants in those 5 regimens, and their data and their samples, which is a lot of data and a lot of samples, thousands and thousands of cryovials containing plasma, serum, blood, etc. All of this has been retired or set aside. We're no longer using it in the trial, and it's been donated to publicly available repositories such as ProAct, which is a data repository, and also we can share the samples through our biorepository. And this is important because the experience of people that were on placebo in these first 5 regimens is now actively helping ALS research, which I think is important to say and continue to emphasize, because normally, when trials finish, oftentimes, unless there is a donation from the trial leadership to a repository, the learnings stay within that particular trial. They're not necessarily shared with other people. And instead, when we launched and planned the platform trial, it was very important to us to make sure that the experience of at least the placebo participants could then help fuel research beyond the walls of the trial itself. Next slide. And so the trial also, because it's a trial that continues to evolve and adapt, the trial continues to learn from its experience. And so now that we are launching new regimens in 2026, and it's really just only a few weeks away, we have learned some of the statistical aspects and some of the biomarker aspects and some of the design parts of that have been directly informed by our experience in the first few years, in the first 5 years of our existence. And so that's important because we don't want to kind of reinvent the wheel every time. We want to continue to improve on what we learn. And so that's why, the new regimens will include some of the changes listed on the slide here, including new biomarkers and new options for research, again, to continue to test new drugs even more efficiently and also to continue to contribute to the field. Next slide. And so if companies are interested in participating in the trial, obviously that's the information that, it's available on this slide. And again, I just explained briefly how the therapy selection works. Next slide. And also, if you want to reach out to me or Dr. Sukovic or Christine Drake, our senior director, we can, you can always feel free to contact us, and we have our contact information on the slide. Next slide. And we will continue to provide you with information in real time in the new year. Catherine Small is our patient navigator, and she's available by phone or email. We will continue to have 2 webinars each month. Again, you can register by using the QR code. You can also sign up for the ALS link if you're interested, and you'll receive information about the webinars. We usually do one discussion about expanded access. That's the second Tuesday of every month, and then one discussion about a platform trial or how to access research. That's generally the fourth Thursday of every month. And this particular month, we kind of change the schedule a little bit, but normally it's the second and fourth week of each month. I do want to mention that we're very excited to begin enrolling again in early 2026. So stay tuned for that. We'll definitely provide information about when the new regimen starts enrolling in early 2026, and also the sites that become active and where people can enroll. So we'll definitely continue to provide you with updates about that important topic too, and we're very, very excited to start enrolling again. And so with that, I think I'll stop kind of my presentation and take questions. And so here there are questions about new regimens. So again, the new regimens are being planned for 2026. The first regimen that will start is the New Horizon regimen. We're working also with other regimen partners, and so I don't have an exact timelines for the other regimens, but we'll definitely make sure to keep you posted on this webinar. And then Catherine, I don't know if you had any comments or questions that you wanted to share.
Actually, just double checked. I don't think I got any questions via email for this particular topic this week. But I will just note that if people wanted to read more about upcoming regimens, the platform trial news page. I'll put the link in the chat. We do put the press releases there so you can stay up to date about which regimens are under design. And then you can also go directly to the drug company's web pages as well if you wanted to read a bit more than what we have in the press release. But other than that, I think there's one more question in the chat, but that's all from me.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Catherine. And yes, as you said, we try to provide information by different ways, websites, press releases. And again, this webinar will continue twice a month, and we try to bring you information as soon as we get it. There's a good question in the chat about, I explained earlier that the HEALEY platform trial fits within the phase 2/3 space, so it can count as either if it counts mostly as a phase 2 study, but if there was like a remarkable result, the study results could count as a more definitive study. But again, that all depends on the results of the study, but it fits in that space. I hope that's helpful. So, and yeah, I think these are the questions that we got today. And with that, I am really grateful to all of you for being on this webinar. And again, we will continue to provide you with information. I know we all wish sometimes that research went faster, but we'll try to provide you with information as we get it. And so thank you so much. And we'll see you in the new year. Thank you.